All right, shalom, shalom. First off, give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rikar Kadash, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, all the men and the women who follow. This is the brother Kratazah from the GMS Nebraska camp, coming back at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. This lesson being entitled, The Persecution is Coming. All right, and as we get closer and closer and nearer to the end, you know, these things that Esau Edom has planned are going to start manifesting themselves. You know, the scriptures speak about. Let's get that. In Second Ezra chapter 9. Second Ezra 9 and 5. It says, For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Right. So now that the end is being made manifest, is being brought forth, in front of our eyes, we're going to start seeing the things that are written in the scriptures. All right. And the thing that we want to concentrate on today is the persecution. All right. So matter of fact, let's get this word persecution. Persecute. So persecute is to oppress for the holding of an opinion or an adherence to a particular creed or mode of worship, right? To pursue, to torment, right? So we are going to be pursued, we're going to be tormented because of our particular mode of worship, which we worship Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Now, when they go to persecute us, we're not going to be brought up on charges for, well, you worship Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Let me see. Because Satan has many devices, and he's a liar. All right. So he's gonna trump up the charges, so to speak. Matter of fact, let's get some scriptures, all right? This is Matthew 10 and 16. It says, Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Now, who are the sheep? The sheep are the men in the truth. All right, the hopeful elect are the sheep. And who are the wolves? The wolves are people who would prey on those sheep, which would be, false prophets, false teachers. All right, it says, be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Right? So you have to have wisdom to combat these false prophets. But still, the scriptures speak about if possible, be at peace with all men. Use subtlety to, to duck and dodge these guys. Like Yahweh Shai, he slipped off through the crowd. Let's see if we can get that. Let me see. Like talking to you, fucking Siri. Let me see. I think that's it. All right, it says Luke 4 and 30, so we'll check that out. All right, so this is Luke 4 and 28. It says, and when and they And all they in the synagogue, when they heard these things, were filled with wrath, and rose up and thrust him out of the city, and lead him into his brow into the hill whereon the city was built, that they may cast him down headlong. But he passing through the but he passing through the midst of them went his way. You know, he was harmless as a dove. He could have, struck back. He could have called down a legion of angels. He had spiritual powers, but he was harmless as a dove, yet wise as a serpent. He knew it wasn't that time to do that, so he used his subtlety and his cunning to escape that situation. And the scripture saying that we have to have that same mindset. It says, but verse 17, but beware of men, for they will deliver you up to the councils, and they will scourge you in their synagogues. Right, but the scriptures speak about a man's foes will be they of his household. You know, the mother and the mother-in-law, the father and the father-in-law. Your brothers, your sisters, aunties, cousins. Friends, everyone. Anyone could be that person who would turn you in. All right, and just think if if you had 10 KO in your head, who would turn you in? You know, let there be some kind of false flag attack, you know, a T-ism attack, and they blame it on the black Hebrew Israelites. Not just one group, they just blame it on painted with a wide brush. If you know any of these black Hebrew Israelites, turn them in, and you'll get X amount of money. No name needed. They'll be raised everywhere. you know, because we don't come with that prosperity doctrine. We don't come with that, the Lord got a blessing for you. We come with that, hey man, you better get right or the Lord's going to kill you, which that's the truth. Have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Yeah, I have. Right? And they're going to deliver us up. So we have to be prepared. We have to know that this is a viable situation for all of us. All right. The Apostle Gabar always speaks about knowing what you're into, knowing what you've gotten yourself in. All right, this isn't just a hangout. This isn't just calling a white man a devil. This isn't just a group or a gang or something to do on the weekend. We are prophesying the downfall of America. All right, I'll say that again. We are prophesying the downfall of America. Jeremiah 28:8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. And what did they do to the prophets of old? Okay, let's see what they did. Um, yeah, okay. First Kings 19:10. So, um, let's start at First Kings 19:9. It says, and he came thither into a cave and lodged there, and behold, the word of the Lord came to him, and he said unto him, what dost thou there? It's like, what does thou here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for the Lord Yahweh, for the Lord Yahweh power of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thy altars, and slain thy prophets, right, with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. So they slew the prophets. Right, and Elijah said that he felt like he was the only one left. So he was hiding in a cave. If they did it then, they'll do it right now. There's no new thing under the sun. We know the animosity that, you know, Christians have toward us, and uh, to 2/3 Jace. Some of our family members look at us like we're crazy, or because we don't give them the energy that they feel like they deserve. So yeah, let them put some money on our heads, and it's a wrap. You know, your own child's mother would give you up. Your woman would give you up. Matthew 10 and 18, it says, and ye should be brought before governors and before kings for my sake, and for a testimony against them and the Gentiles. Right? So we're going to be brought in front of these uh, courts, in front of these judges. All right. Uh, Ultimately, it's for serving Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But like I said, we're going to be accused of heinous things. They already try to accuse us of, you know, of graping, you know, people, you know, the grape doctrine. You know, they accuse of us of all these things already, which we've never done. It's no new thing under the sun. All right. And let's take a trip down memory lane back in 2001 when the T attacks happened. They wrote on the apostles and they threw the apostles in jail, you know, and they were in there for a good bit until they were proven to be innocent. But that's not how it's going to be this time. You know, the laws are set up that they could pick you up, throw you in Guantanamo Bay with no court, no due justice, nothing. All right, just pick you up, throw you in the back of a van, all right, and take you to Guantanamo Bay and torture you or do whatever with you, whatever they would feel like, and it's completely legal. But they have to stop this truth. That's the reason why, because this truth is moving, it's growing, and the time is getting near. So, in order to stop this movement, they have to stop the boots that are on the ground. So, how would they stop the boots on the ground? You got to cut off the head, right? And then you have to go for the body and scatter. That's the so-called white man's plan. So, with that being said, um, yeah. So, First Peter 5:8 says, "Be sober." No, I don't want that one yet. Let's get Isaiah 59:19. It says, so they shall fear the name of the Lord from the west, and the glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, all right, the enemy's gonna come in like a flood, an overwhelming force. Have you ever seen a wall of water? All right, and the destruction that it can do. So they're gonna come in with that overwhelming force, and the spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them. Because when they go to row, all right, when they start kicking in doors and forcing the implementation of the MOT to the B, all right, putting people in concentration camps and 15-minute cities, martial laws everywhere, all right, the shit has hit the fan. All right, the spirit of the Lord is going to be with the elect. You're going to have men endowed with spiritual powers doing amazing things. But hey, the persecution is still going to come, and we don't know who or when or why or how, we're going to get the spiritual powers. We don't know the exact moment. We don't know what we're going to have to go through in order to get those powers. You may have to see 3 or 4 of your closest, friends, family, and you know, friends and family, be killed in front of you for it to manifest. Who knows? But the scripture says to be sober. It's like in 1 Peter 5:8, to be sober and to be vigilant. All right, so we have to. It's not talking about like not being an alcoholic or not drinking. It's talking about being sober minded and being vigilant, watching out for the prophecies, watching the news, watching for current events. Watching these devils here in America, watching back when you're walking on the streets. Be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. We have enemies who would devour us, who would overwhelm us. Or that's why there's going to be a persecution, because they have to get rid of us. Because there could be no new world order or their kingdom, East kingdom, with Israelites preaching the downfall of it within it. Yeah, this is East kingdom now, but it's not his ideal kingdom. If it was his ideal kingdom, he wouldn't need a new world order. It would just be the world's order. But because the Most High set it up the way he did, all right, we get to tell this man in front of his face. The scriptures speak about and wisdom of Solomon, being bold in the face of such as have afflicted thee. All right, we get to tell this devil to his face that you're the devil and that you're going to slavery and that America's going to be destroyed. And yeah, and they got these big plans. They think that they're going to implement these plans, and they're going to start to implement these plans. But when they start, that's when the Lord is going to come in. He's going to put an end to them. But this persecution is coming. All right, boots on the ground is coming. They can kick in that door at 3 a.m. at any time. The world changed on September 12th, 2001. We know what happened on the 11th, 2001. On the 12th, 2001, we were in a whole new world. And guess what? If one of those attacks happen again, we'll wake up in a whole new world. They'll use that to strip away all your so-called American rights and civil liberties. But that's why we live for Yahweh Shem Yahshua. We don't put our trust in this world. We know this world hastes fast to pass away. Hey, and we hasten fast for the end of this thing. But the scriptures speak about, if you were the world would love his own. We won't get no love from the world. Most we get is a honk when a nigga drive by. This is Matthew 5:10. It says, "Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." All right, we're going to be persecuted for these, for our beliefs, ultimately for our beliefs. But like I said, it's not going to be. You're not going to. Well, what's this man? You're not going to stand in front of the judge, in front of the judge, and the lawyer say, "Yeah, this man is charged with prophesying the downfall of Egypt and Rome and Babylon." And the judge gonna look at you like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Well, he says it's America, Judge. He doesn't believe in America, Judge. He believes it's going to be destroyed. He said it's going to be destroyed, so we have to get rid of this guy. He thinks his people is better than everyone else. These aren't the charges that they're going to bring up on us. All right, they're going to bring terroristic, type charges. If you know what I mean. I don't want to say the word because I don't want to get flagged. All right, 911, 2001 type charges. All right, and we've seen people over the years, do some wild stuff It's just different individuals from within the Israelite community. And anytime anyone from the Israelite community does something wrong, the whole community takes the brunt. But how many people went to jail yesterday? Just in America, how many people went to jail yesterday? Millions. How many of them were so-called Christian? How many of them were so-called Catholic? But you never hear about this. But let one dude who's bugged out and knows the circumference of the universe and uh, Yah is his Lord and he doesn't believe in the Old Testament, let this nigga steal a candy bar from fucking Walmart and all Hebrew Israelites do is steal. These are the narratives that we're fighting. All right, this is Revelation 2:10. It says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried." All right. Satan is some of us are gonna be locked up. Some of us are gonna be in that concentration camp, and you have to deny it. The Lord will make a way. This. Let me see. First Corinthians 10:13. It says, "There has no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it." Right? So the Lord is going to make a way. All right. So just deny to the end, and have faith that the Most High is going to save you. He's going to, and if you don't, and you have to die, your works do follow you. And just know that you'll be resurrected first. It's more honorable to die the death of a martyr than to live the life as a whole ass nigga who voted for the white man, because they're still gonna kill you either way. Maybe they don't kill you. Maybe they just throw you in amongst the other general population who took the MOT to the B. But ultimately, you're gonna die anyway, so you're gonna eat a missile, or maybe you starve to death. Maybe they beat you to death. But it's better to be put to death for righteousness than to live a life as a bitch ass nigga. All right. In the middle of verse 10, it says, "And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." You got to be faithful unto death, man. You have to realize that there's a chance that you might get put to death in this thing. I'm going to say that again. You, if you're listening to this video, have to realize that there's a chance that you could get put to death for this thing. But you have to realize that, internalize that, feel that, breathe that, understand that, understand what comes with this. This isn't a game. The persecution is coming. All right. The scriptures speak about the weapon of our warfare. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So I'm not saying stock up millions of guns and ammo, or gather up all kinds of food and bug out bags and things of that nature. Is it a defense? Yeah. But you can't put your trust in those guns. You can't put your trust in MREs and a cabinet full of canned goods. You have to put your trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. He'll give you that crown of life. With that being said, Lord, as well, this is edifying, and we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakar, giving double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, of the men and the women who follow. Shalom.